bus screeched to a stop on the quiet street just before dawn. Daniel Carter stepped down, duffel bag slung across his shoulder, the same bag that had followed him through sand, dust, and endless nights of war. He hadn't told anyone he was coming home, not his parents, not his friends. He wanted to surprise them. He wanted to see their faces when he walked through that familiar front door. The air smelled of wet grass and wood smoke, a sharp contrast to the dry heat he'd endured overseas. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to breathe. He was home, safe, or so he thought. As Daniel pushed open the front gate, his heart raced with anticipation. He imagined his mother's tears, his father's proud smile, his younger sister Emily's laughter as she ran into his arms. But when he stepped inside, the house was quiet, too quiet. The morning light crept through the curtains, dust floating in the air, but there was no laughter, no sound of life. He heard soft footsteps upstairs. His lips curled into a smile. "They don't even know I'm here yet. Emily," he called gently, climbing the stairs. A door creaked open. His sister Emily, now 19, stood frozen in the hallway. Her eyes widened, her hand flew to her mouth, and then tears spilled over her cheeks. "Daniel?" she whispered. He dropped his bag and pulled her into a hug. She trembled in his arms, clutching him as if she feared he might vanish. But then, as he held her tighter, he noticed something he couldn't ignore. The faint wince when he touched her shoulder, the way she tried to hide her face against his chest. When she pulled back, the morning light revealed everything. A bruise along her jaw, another on her arm, peeking from beneath her sleeve, and her eyes, filled with a pain deeper than words. Daniel's heart clenched. "Emily, what happened?" She looked down, silent. He lifted her chin gently. "Who did this to you?" Her lips trembled, but no words came. In that silence, Daniel knew his sister had been suffering while he was away, fighting battles of his own. But here, in his own home, another war was being waged against her. The hidden truth. It took hours for Emily to finally open up. At first she insisted it was nothing, just clumsiness, an accident. But Daniel had seen too much in life to believe such lies. Finally, as her tears fell onto the kitchen table, she whispered the name. "It's Ryan," she said. Daniel's stomach turned. Ryan, the boyfriend Emily had met a year ago. The one who seemed so polite, so charming, the one their parents trusted. But behind closed doors, Ryan was a monster. He had isolated Emily, controlled her, and now he was hurting her. Daniel's fists clenched, anger surging through him like wildfire. "Where is he?" Emily shook her head quickly. "No, Daniel, please. Don't do anything. If you go after him, it'll only make it worse. He'll hurt me more." Those words sliced through him. The same sister who used to chase him through the yard, who once braided friendship bracelets for his wrist, who had cried when he left for the army. She was now living in fear in her own home. Tooth a challenge, Daniel faced a different kind of war now. Out there on the battlefield, he knew his enemy. Here, the enemy wore a familiar face and walked their streets without shame. Worse, Emily was trapped in a cycle, afraid to leave, afraid to speak. His parents didn't know the truth. Emily had hidden it too well. The bruises, the excuses, the isolation, it had all been buried under forced smiles. Daniel realized he had to act carefully. Charging in with anger might only drive Emily deeper into danger, but doing nothing, that wasn't an option. Daniel started quietly researching ways to help abuse victims, contacting old friends who had returned home and now worked in law enforcement. He learned that abusers thrived on silence, on secrecy, and that the bravest thing Emily could do was speak out. But she wasn't ready yet, so he stayed by her side. Every day, he reminded her that she wasn't alone anymore. He took her on long walks, listened without judgment, and gently encouraged her to reclaim the pieces of her life Ryan had stolen. 2. The breaking point. One evening, Emily came home shaken. Daniel could tell something had happened. Her hands trembled as she poured a glass of water. "He was worse today," she whispered. "He said if I ever told anyone, he'd—" She couldn't finish. Daniel's blood boiled. But then he remembered the discipline the army had taught him. Control, patience, strategy. This wasn't just about his rage. This was about Emily's freedom. "Emily," he said softly, "you don't have to live like this. You are stronger than you think. And you have me now. I won't let him hurt you again." That night, with Daniel beside her, Emily made the hardest decision of her life. She reported Ryan. To the resolution, the road wasn't easy. There were police reports, court hearings, and moments when Emily almost lost her courage. But Daniel never left her side. He attended every hearing, held her hand when she trembled, and reminded her of her worth when she doubted herself. Slowly, Emily began to heal. The bruises faded, but more importantly, she started to believe in herself again. She returned to college, joined a support group, and began painting again, something she had once loved but abandoned under Ryan's shadow. And Daniel. He realized that coming home from war didn't mean his battles were over. His purpose now was different: to protect his family, to fight for those who couldn't, to be the strength Emily needed until she found her own. To the inspiring message months later, Daniel sat on the porch with Emily. She laughed freely now, a sound he hadn't heard in so long. "You saved me, Daniel," she said softly. He shook his head. "No, Emily, you saved yourself. I just reminded you you weren't alone." Her smile was small but genuine, and for the first time, Daniel felt that maybe, just maybe, they were both finally at peace.